Gunkel, are you ready?
Yes, Judge, ready.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Aviv Segev. I'm the administrative law judge assigned to hear this proceeding number 25G-0191CP. Today is August 20th, 2025. It is now 11 a.m. This matter comes on for a hearing pursuant to decision R25-0505-I. I'm now calling the hearing to order. Before we start with entries of appearances, I want to remind staff that it is the Commission's practice to webcast legal proceeding, and both the audio and video feeds of this proceeding are being webcast on the Commission's YouTube channel. We're also recording the hearing today. Ms. Hayden, Mr. Horman, welcome. Would you kindly enter your appearances?
Hi, yes. Good morning, Your Honor. Assistant Attorneys General Josh Foreman and Jennifer Hayden appear on behalf of trial staff of the Public Utilities Commission. With us today is Investigator Aaron Hazlett of trial staff.
Thank you very much. Before we proceed, let me make sure of that. Okay. The record should reflect that neither the respondent nor its representative has appeared for this hearing. Decision number R25-0505-I was sent to the respondent by U.S. mail at 1691 Soaring Circle, Estes Park, Colorado 80517, and the Commission staff received no undeliverable or bounce back notice. In addition, the instructions for accessing and this proceeding and presenting evidence in this proceeding were emailed to JM Concierge SRVC@gmail.com, and were also mailed via U.S. mail to the respondent at 1691 Soaring Circle, Estes Park, Colorado 80517. Mr. Horman, do you have any preliminary issues you would like to discuss?
I do, Your Honor, and staff would move for an entry of default against respondent Estes Park Rideshare, also known as Estes Park Rideshare by JM Concierge Services, LLC. In conjunction, staff would also move to vacate this hearing. In support of this request, Commission Rule 1001 states that, quote, "We're not otherwise inconsistent with Title 40 or these rules, an administrative law judge may seek guidance from or may employ the Colorado Rules of Civil Procedure. Staff respectfully requests, Your Honor, employ the Colorado Rules of Civil Procedure and enter default against the respondent under CRCP Rule 55A. Specifically, CRCP Rule 55A states, quote, "When a party against whom a judgment for affirmative relief is sought has failed to plead or otherwise defend as provided by these rules, and that fact is made to appear by affidavit or otherwise, the clerk shall enter his default. Here, defendant has failed to appear at hearing, failed to respond to staff CPAN, and has failed to appear at any point otherwise in this proceeding. For judicial economy to save time and resources, staff moves for entry of default against respondent and moves to vacate this hearing. Additionally, if Your Honor grants staff's motion for entry of default and motion to vacate the hearing, staff will follow up after hearing by e-filing a motion for default judgment and supporting affidavits to comply with CRCP 55B and CRCP 121, Section 1-14, which are the local statewide practice standards for motions for default judgments. CRCP 121, Section 1-14, subsections A through G set forth the requirements to establish the factual basis for the CPAN through supporting affidavits. As required, staff will file 3 supporting affidavits that will include a showing of valid service, here that the CPAN was personally served on respondent's designated agent, Jason Martinez, who acknowledged and signed the CPAN on May 9th, 2025. This was proper service under Commission Rule 1205. The second affidavit will show that venue is proper, and that respondent is a business. Therefore, the respondent is not a minor, incapacitated, an officer or agency of the state of Colorado, or in the military service. The third affidavit will establish the factual basis for issuing the CPAN and the monetary penalties against the respondent. Finally, staff will file a proposed order and judgment in favor of staff and against respondent, which is a requirement of CRCP 121, Section 1-14G. In summary, staff's motion contains two parts. First, staff moves for an entry of default against respondent and to vacate this hearing under CRCP 55A. Second, if staff's motion is granted, staff will e-file a motion for default judgment with supporting affidavits in favor of staff and against respondent as required under CRCP 55B and CRCP 121, Section 1-14. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I was not expecting that. I'm inclined.
If I may add one maybe preliminary assistance, we are happy to take 15 minutes or 30 minutes to see whether defendant will show up and use that time to potentially consider the motion and come back at that time.
That actually is a very good idea. That's what we shall do. We will take, let's say, a recess until 11:20. I will consider the motion. In the meantime, as you said, Mr. Horman, we'll see if the respondent might join this hearing, and then your motion becomes moot. And after which, if the respondent does not show up, then we will then I will rule on the motion and we'll proceed accordingly.
Okay, thank you very much.
We are on recess until 11:20. All right, Ms. Kunkel, are you ready?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. We're back on the record in proceeding number 25G-0191CP. Let the record reflect that neither respondent nor any representative of the respondent has appeared. Mr. Horman, I've considered your your motion, and I will deny it. I will state that had the motion and appropriate affidavits been filed prior to the hearing, my decision might have been different. I'm also not sure, since we're all here right now, how much, if any, time and resources will be saved by my granting of your motion. So again, therefore, I will deny the motion, and when you tell me you're ready, I will have you present your evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. And would you mind if I respond to your decision here?
Go ahead.
The reason that we waited to make our oral motion at hearing instead of providing this documentation prior is that we have to wait for the defendant to see whether he appears or not. We can't file the motion until knowing if he's going to show up or not. Had we known that he was not going to show, we still wouldn't be able to file it. We really need to go through the process of starting the hearing to begin to move for an entry of default. And so staff does have the documentation ready for filing. If Your Honor would reconsider, we'd be happy to walk through the supporting affidavits and documentation through written evidentiary instead of an oral hearing. Staff is going to consider moving for entries of defaults in further hearings in which respondents to appeal or do not appear, and we just ask that you take that into consideration.
I did, and I understand your point. And while I'll just say I understand your argument. It makes sense to not to be able to file a motion before the underlying facts make it so that you can file the motion. I will nonetheless, at this time, still deny the motion, have you present the evidence. I don't believe that the set of circumstances as they were alleged in the civil penalty assessment notice are particularly complicated. And so I think we can dispose of this case just the same or as effectively by presenting evidence today in this hearing. So again, the motion is denied, but I appreciate it. I understand it, I think, I'll just finish with that. And Mr. Horman, are there any additional preliminary issues you would like to discuss?
No, Your Honor. And if we are ready, I will turn it over to my co-counsel, Ms. Hayden, for direct examination.
Of course. Ms. Hayden, when you're ready, please call your first witness.
Yes, Your Honor. Jennifer Hayden, on behalf of trial staff, calls PUC investigator Aaron Hazlett to the stand.
Ms. Hazlett, would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will give will be the truth?
Yes.
When you're ready, please state and spell your name for the record. And once you're done, Ms. Hayden, you're welcome to proceed.
My name is Erin Hazlett, and that is spelled E-R-I-N. Last is H-A-I-S-L-E-T-T. ETT.
Thank you.
Good morning, Investigator Hazlett. Who is your current employer,
I work for the Public Utilities Commission for the state of Colorado.
and what is your job title?
I'm a criminal investigator.
How long have you been with the PUC?
3 years and 8 months.
Do you have any prior law enforcement experience?
I've been in law enforcement for 26 years. Was an investigator with the Air Force, then the Department of Defense. I was an investigator. Worked as a police officer and then detective for the city of Denton Police Department in Texas, and then here.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Did you investigate a rideshare company by the name of Estes Park Rideshare?
Yes, I did.
Or Estes Park Rideshare by JM Concierge Services LLC?
Yes, I did.
And that's the same business operating name, isn't it?
Yes,
And these businesses are all owned and operated by Jason Michael Martinez, is that right?
that's correct.
Why did you investigate Estes Park Rideshare?
I was assigned to investigate the complaint by my supervisor.
So a complaint was received?
Yes, it was.
What did that complaint entail?
A individual who owns a transportation company that is permitted to operate in Estes Park filed the complaint on the respondent because he was operating without a permit.
Is this the only complaint that you have received against this company?
This is the only complaint that I have investigated.
Okay. Have other complaints been made against this business with the
Yes.
PUC?
Yes, I have.
Okay. In speaking with the complainant, what did you learn?
I learned that Estes Park is a small community, so people know each other up there. So she is aware of Jason Martinez. She has interacted with him, and through the interactions, she has learned that he is aware that he needs a permit, but he continues to operate, and that he has shared his clients with their company because he couldn't drive for that day. And yeah, just they see him operating throughout the town. So that was the main part of that complaint. But the problem is that because it's a small community, everyone knows each other, and I guess he has retaliated in the past and against their companies.
Did you take steps to verify whether Estes Park Rideshare was operating or offering to operate?
Yes, I found different listings on Facebook. I found a website. The town actually was advertising them as a transportation service also. The town of Estes Park, sorry.
And based on your investigation, did you make the determination to issue a CPAN against the company?
Yes, I did.
If we could please pull up what's been marked as Staff's Hearing Exhibit 100. Investigator Hazlett, I'd like to direct your attention to the CPAN here. What are we looking at?
This is the civil penalty assessment or notice of complaint to appear that was issued to the companies for Estes Park Rideshare and/or Estes Park Rideshare by JM Concierge Services LLC.
And did you create this document?
Yes, I did.
And did you keep this document in your case records in the regular course of business?
Yes, I did.
Is it the regular practice of the commission to keep records like this during CPAN investigations?
Yes.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit Hearing Exhibit 100.
Hearing Exhibit 100 is admitted.
Investigator Hazlett, can you explain the Estes Park Rideshare and/or Estes Park Rideshare by JM Concierge Services LLC as a named respondent?
I mean, I could have listed about 15 companies, to be honest, and he keeps changing the names pretty often. Those are the names that were listed when he filed on a permit application, actually.
And what is the physical address listed with the PUC?
1601 Soaring Circle, Estes Park, Colorado 80517.
Can we enlarge this a bit? Investigator Hazlett, I'm going to ask you to look at that physical address again.
Did I say it wrong? Sorry.
I think, yep, you did. I heard 1601, so I just wanted to verify that the address on the CPAN is it
I
correct?
apologize. I probably need new glasses.
Okay.
The address is 1691 Soaring Circle, Estes Park, Colorado, 80517.
Okay, thank you. And if we could scroll down to
I'm getting
the
older, I'm sorry.
we all do every day. If we could scroll down to the bottom page here. Thank you. Investigator Hazlett, is that your signature on the bottom of this CPAN?
Yes, it is.
And what date was that CPAN signed?
I signed it for the probable cause on May 8th, 2025.
And is there any other signature on this CPAN?
Yes, there is. There's a signature of the respondent, Jason Martinez, on May 9th, 2025.
Did you obtain that signature from Mr. Martinez?
Yes, when I personally served the CPAN.
Oh, that was my next question. Okay, thank you.
Right.
And so how was the CPAN served on Mr. Martinez of the company?
I went to the residence on Soaring Circle and met with him and served the CPAN to him.
Okay, if we could scroll up just a bit and take a look at the how many violations did you allege in this CPAN, Investigator Hazlett?
2,
And what were those violations?
operating without financial responsibility on file with the commission, and operating without a common carrier permit.
Thank you. If we could please take this document down. When it comes to that financial responsibility, that's not having proof of insurance on file with the PUC, is that right?
Correct. That's not having insurance on file, so.
Okay. And do the statutes and commission rules require common carriers to maintain and file evidence of financial responsibility with the commission?
That is correct.
And what needs to be provided to the commission to show financial responsibility?
It's the responsibility of the carrier to have their insurance company file financial evidence of current insurance policy for a commercial insurance policy.
Did Estes Park Rideshare ever provide you with proof of insurance during the time of your investigation?
No.
And did Estes Park ever Estes Park Rideshare ever file proof of insurance during the pendency of this case?
No.
In regards to the second violation, operating without a CPCN, do the statutes and commission rules require carriers to obtain a certificate of public convenience and necessity before they operate, or even offer to operate as a common carrier?
Yes, that's correct.
And in this case, did Estes Park Rideshare have a CPCN on file to operate with the PUC?
No, they did not.
What steps did you take to make that determination?
I checked our databases and to make sure that none of the company names that he has operated under or is using, or his name or the phone numbers associated to any of the companies had an active permit or CPCN.
Thank you. If we could please pull up what's been marked as Hearing Exhibit 101. Thank you. Investigator Hazlett, what are we looking at here?
Can we make that bigger? I'm sorry. I know what it is. It's our database. It's called IFMS. It's Integrated Filing Management System. It's a record of the carrier's application for Estes Park Rideshare LLC.
So you're familiar with this document?
Yes, I am.
And how are you familiar with this document?
I made this document by printing it from our database.
Okay. And did you keep this document in your case records in the regular course of business?
Yes, I did.
And is this the regular practice of the commission to keep records like these in CPAN investigations?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit Hearing Exhibit 101.
Hearing Exhibit 101 is admitted.
Investigator Hazlett, I'd like to direct your attention to the name history here in the middle of the page that we're looking at. What is the name history for this company that we're discussing today?
So initially he had the name when he applied for Estes Park Rideshare by JM Concierge Services LLC. And then he changed it to Estes Park Rideshare LLC.
And is that the basis for the naming of the respondent in the CPAN?
That's correct.
And if we could take a look below that, the address on file with the PUC, is that the same address that you listed on the CPAN?
Yes, it is.
And to verify one more time, what is that address?
1691 Soaring Circle, Estes Park, Colorado, 80517.
Thank you. And if we could scroll down a little bit more, I'm looking for the second page. What is the business phone number for Estes Park Rideshare?
It's listed as 970-290-4369.
And the email address?
JM Concierge SRVC@gmail.com.
During your investigation, did you ever use the email address to contact Mr. Martinez?
I don't recall if I used that or not.
Okay. And who is the designated agent on file with the PUC?
Jason Martinez.
And again, same address, is that right?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, same address as what I listed on the CPAN and where I went to go serve the CPAN.
All right, thank you. If we could please take this down. As part of your investigation, did you use that, what other databases did you access to verify the relationship to Mr. Martinez and these businesses?
I also looked up Colorado Secretary of State because he had so many different names. I wanted to see what else was out there that he was operating under, using, had used, that type of thing.
Okay, if we could, thank you. If we could please pull up what's been marked as hearing exhibit 102. Investigator Hazlett, I'm going to ask you about the Secretary of State findings. Investigator Hazlett, what are we looking at here?
This is a Colorado Secretary of State summary for business that he listed as Estes Park Rideshare by JM Concierge Services Limited.
And who is a registered agent with the Secretary of State for this business? Investigator Hazlett, who is the registered agent with the Secretary of State for this Estes Park Rideshare?
Jason Martinez.
Okay. And this is the Mr. Martinez that you've been communicating with, is that right?
Correct.
And how did you obtain this document?
I searched it using the search tool under Colorado Secretary of State business listings.
And did you keep this document in your case records in the regular course of business?
Yes, I did.
And is it the regular practice of the commission to keep records like these in CPAN investigations?
Yes.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 102.
Hearing exhibit 102 is admitted.
Investigator Hazlett, so when you found Estes Park Rideshare, this summary, and you added it to your case file, did you take any additional steps?
Yes, I kept looking because there were several names that he had been known to be using, so I kept looking.
Okay, if we could please take this exhibit down and pull up staff's hearing exhibit 103. Investigator Hazlett, are you familiar with this document?
Yes,
How are you pardon me, how are you familiar with this document?
I printed the document off the Secretary of State website.
And did you keep this document in your case records in the regular course of business?
Yes, I did.
And is the regular practice of the commission to keep records like these in CPAN investigations?
Yes.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 103.
Hearing exhibit 103 is admitted.
Investigator Hazlett, why did you access, or what's the name of the company in this summary?
Estes Park Rideshare LLC.
And who is the registered agent for this business?
Jason Michael Martinez.
And is this information the same that you concluded from the prior summary for this business?
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same person. He just added his middle name.
Okay. And what is the status of this business on file with the Secretary of State?
This one is delinquent, just as the other one was delinquent that you had previously.
Okay, thank you. And if we could take this exhibit down and pull up what's been marked as hearing exhibit 104. And again, Investigator Hazlett, are you familiar with this document?
Yes, I am.
And how are you familiar with this document?
I pulled the record off of Secretary of State and
And
printed
did you
it.
keep this document in your case records in the regular course of business?
Yes, I did.
And is it the regular practice of the commission to keep records like these in CPAN investigations?
Yes.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 104.
Hearing exhibit 104 is admitted.
Investigator Hazlett, were you able to verify if this was another, excuse me, business operating by Mr. Martinez?
Yes, this JM Concierge Services LLC was a company that was listed on the complaint that he was operating under several names. This is one of them. And it also lists his address is the office street address and the mailing address.
And were you able to verify that this is indeed Mr. Martinez as well as the other two summaries with the Secretary of State?
Yes, I was.
Okay, thank you. If we could please take this exhibit down. Investigator Hazlett, as further part of your investigation, did you do any online searching?
Yes, I did.
And what steps did you take to search for this company?
So I used the phone numbers that was listed on the IFM's account and also the one that was provided by the complaint. And I did a Google search, just plain Google search for that number, and it popped up for a website for the company and a Facebook page also.
And was that the same phone number you used in IFM's that you read out previously in
Yes.
hearing exhibit 101?
Yes.
Okay. And you said, so did you come across any advertising on beyond Facebook page, web pages?
Yeah, I also found one, the town of Estes Park listed him as a transportation service on their website.
Did that lead you to believe that Estes Park Rideshare was offering to operate as a common carrier without a CPCN?
Yes.
If we could please pull up what's been marked as hearing exhibit 105. Investigator Hazlett, as part of your investigation, did you come across a website for this business?
Yes, I did.
And what are we looking at here?
This is the website that is for his company.
And are you familiar with this website?
Yes, I am. I'm the one that found it and printed it.
And did you document this as part of your investigation as a record?
Yes, I did.
And do you commonly keep records such as these in CPAN investigations?
Yes, I do.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 105.
Hearing exhibit 105 is admitted.
Investigator Hazlett, what did you find, or what conclusions did you make from finding this website?
Well, the website's actually called Estes Park Rideshare, and then it lists the company in the corner as Concierge of Estes Park by JM Concierge Services, which are names that all connect to each other that he uses in different variations. But that's what I took, was that this is his website that he used to book a ride.
Okay. Are you able to, do you know whether you're able to book a ride through the website?
Yes, you are, because I booked the ride to verify that he was actually offering and taking rides for compensation.
Okay, Investigator Hazlett, we'll circle back to that. But based on this offering to operate, and your IFM's investigation that did not have a CPCN on file. Were you considering bringing violations against Estes Park Rideshare?
Yeah, as long as I could confirm that he was actually taking a ride for compensation.
Okay. Do you know whether the click to the phone number, is that the phone number listed in the IFMs that we read off earlier?
That is not the phone number that's listed on IFMs.
Okay. If we could please take this exhibit down. Was Estes Park Rideshare, you had testified, advertising in multiple places, is that right?
Correct.
Including the Town of Estes Park website, is that right?
Correct.
And in fact, there are multiple, did you gather multiple examples of offering to operate as a rideshare and keep those in your case file?
Yeah, actually the complainant provided different advertisements that were spread out to the community at Estes Park. They had a flyer for Frozen Dead Guy Days that they were offering rides for that event. And then they had different flyers that they would promote their business at different businesses that the complainant found.
And were you able to obtain a business card?
Yes, the complainant again found a business card at one of the motels. They were not 100% sure where it came from, but they found it at a motel or hotel in Estes Park.
Okay. If we could please pull up what's been marked as hearing exhibit 106. Investigator Hazlett, I just wanted to focus on one of those advertisements that you just referenced. What are we looking at here?
This is actually a advertisement from TripAdvisor for Estes Park Rideshare, showing the possible vehicle that he was operating. It's actually the same vehicle that's listed on his business card.
Okay, and so are you familiar with this website?
Yes, I am.
And did you record this website as part of your investigation?
Yes, I did.
And did you keep that record in the regular course of PUC investigative activities?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 106.
Hearing exhibit 106 is admitted.
So Investigator Hazlett, you've testified that not only were advertisements offering to operate spread around town, you came across a TripAdvisor recommendation, is that right?
Yes.
And you have testified to the company's business website, is that right?
Yes.
And was there multiple Facebook pages?
I thought there was only one. I could be wrong.
Needless to say, TripAdvisor, probably a pretty big advertisement.
Yes.
If we could expand this a little bit, were you able to verify this TripAdvisor offering to operate was ad is the same Estes Park rideshare associated with the respondent in this case?
Yeah, because I had the Estes Park rideshare, which is one of the names that he has been using or is currently using to promote his business and operate as the business.
Okay, thank you. If we could please take this down. Do you know whether Mr. Martinez, on behalf of Estes Park Rideshare, JM Concierge Services, has ever applied for a permit or CPCN?
So they applied for a permit twice. That's what the IFMs had shown. They applied for a luxury limousine permit.
Yes, if we could please pull up what's been marked as hearing exhibit 107. And while that's happening, Investigator Hazlett, you'd recall in that IFMs, it does provide the status of any permit applications, is that right?
Yeah, it doesn't really show if it was dismissed. It doesn't give a good explanation on the dismissal date and such for applications.
But does it show whether there's an active CPCN permit on file with the PUC?
Yeah, on the first page, right under the name, it would say active, or it would say what the status is for that permit. And it showed, I think, dismissed on on the IFMs, if I could be correct. IFMs or dismissed or inactive, one of those.
Oh, we can go back and take a look if need
Okay,
be.
sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. But Investigator Hazlett, what are we looking at here?
So this was one of the companies that he applied for. This is Estes Park Rideshare by JM Concierge Service LLC. This is the dismissal letter.
Okay, are you familiar with this document?
Yes, I am.
And how are you familiar with this document?
Because I researched it and pulled it and saved it to my case file.
Is this a record kept in the ordinary course of business by the PUC?
Yes, it is.
And is this commonly part of your investigative services, investigations into CPAN cases for the PUC?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 107.
Hearing exhibit 107 is admitted.
Investigator Hazlett, you previously testified that Estes Park Rideshare had applied for a luxury limousine permit, is that right?
Correct.
And what was the response? What happened with that permit application?
Well, he didn't supply all the required documents to obtain the permit. Like, for instance, on this letter, it says he didn't provide commercial insurance. He didn't provide, also, he didn't provide a vehicle inspection report because honestly, his vehicle wouldn't fit the luxury limousine permit category because he's driving a van and that's not one of the authorized vehicles for a luxury limousine permit.
So ultimately, Estes Park Rideshare by JM Concierge Services was denied a CPCN permit, is that right?
They applied for a luxury limousine permit and they were denied.
Okay. If we could please take this exhibit down. And Investigator Hazlett, I think you testified that there was another application submitted by the business, is that right?
Yes.
If we could please pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit 108. Investigator Hazlett, what are we looking at here?
This is another dismissal letter. This one is for Estes Park Rideshare LLC.
And so you're familiar with this document?
Yes, I am.
And how are you familiar with this document?
I researched it, pulled it, and saved it to my case file.
Is that regularly done in the ordinary course of business for the PUC?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 108.
Hearing exhibit 108 is admitted.
Investigator Hazlett, what was the outcome of this luxury limousine permit application?
This one was also denied because he didn't supply all the required documents for the permit.
Okay. If we could scroll down a little bit. Do these dismissal letters, excuse me. I guess it's a dismissal. Do these dismissal letters contain information on how to go about obtaining the requisite permit?
Yeah, it does list, it says, this is how you should have done it, I guess.
Okay.
He didn't supply the documents and maybe it's like, okay, well, if you refile, this is how to do it.
Okay. And these are related to the two named and or respondent in this case in the CPAN, is that right?
Yes.
All right, thank you. If we could please take down this exhibit. Investigator Hazlett, I want to bring you back around. You had testified that the Estes Park Rideshare website had the ability to book a ride. And you had said, excuse me, you testified that's something that you clicked on?
Yes.
Yeah. Were you able to book a ride with Estes Park Rideshare?
Yes, I did it through the website.
Tell us about what steps did you take to do that?
So I went to the website, I clicked on book a ride. I didn't use my real name, I used an alias persona just to because I didn't want to put myself out there because he may know who I am. I don't know. So I booked a ride from Estes Park to Fort Collins, and it was I booked the ride on April 2nd, and then I said I wanted to go to Fort Collins on April 9th. And it went through. I had to pay for the ride. We used our government credit card. And my ride was accepted, it was booked, so.
All right, let's back up and unpack that a little bit.
Sure.
Can we please take a look at what's been marked as hearing exhibit 109? So when you booked a ride, did you receive any sort of response verifying your booking?
Yes, I used my alias persona's email to get the information back, and this is the booking information for my ride. So, I was going to Fort Collins one way on April 9th. So that's what I wanted to, book for.
Thank you. So you're familiar with this document,
Yes, I am.
and is this part of your case file
Yes,
as a record regularly kept in the ordinary course of business?
yes,
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 109.
Hearing exhibit 109 is admitted.
Investigator Hazlett, you had previously testified that you had booked a one-way service from Estes Park to Fort Collins. Is that right?
yes.
And is that indicated on this booking sheet?
Yeah, it says a service to Fort Collins one way.
Okay, if we could scroll down a bit. Investigator Hazlett, can you please connect this booking documentation to Estes Park Rideshare?
Yeah, can you blow it up a little bit more? Sorry, eyes awful. Thank you, I appreciate that. It shows that it talks about the cancellation policy. It
Uh-huh.
says refunds are subject to the policies of the concierge of Estes Park by JM. Please reach out to concierge of Estes Park by JM to cancel the ride by 11:30 on Tuesday.
Okay. And based on your Secretary of State testimony, were you able to verify that this concierge of Estes Park was the same as Estes Park Rideshare and Estes Park Rideshare by JM Concierge Services? Is that right?
Correct. It's all kind of variations of the same name, owned and operated by Jason Martinez.
All right. So you booked a ride. You received a confirmation. Did you receive? If we could please take this document down. Did you receive any additional information regarding your booking?
Yeah, I immediately received a text message for the phone number that I put into the booking.
If we could please pull up what's been marked as hearing exhibit 110. Investigator Hazlett, what are we looking at here?
This is the text message I received confirming my ride. And it's just from one of those phone numbers that maybe just is used from the website to book rides. Because it's not his phone number that's listed with IFUNs or the one that was on the website.
So you're familiar with this document, is that right?
Oh yeah, sorry. Yes.
And is this the record that you ordinarily keep in the ordinary course of business with the PUC?
Yes.
And this is part of your case file investigating CPAN violations.
Yes.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 110.
Hearing exhibit 110 is admitted.
Investigator Hazlett, can you pinpoint identifying information that shows that this came from Estes Park by the named respondent in any way?
There's a couple things. It says, welcome to text messages by the concierge of Estes Park by JM. And then also he says, hi, my name is Jason. I'll be picking you up from Fort Collins, or to go to Fort Collins in a blue Chrysler van. And it gives both numbers, the number that was on the website, and then the number, I believe that's the number for the cell number for Jason Martinez.
Thank you. Did you respond to any of these texts?
Yes, and by the way, that's my alias persona. It says hi Madison.
Thank you. But you received this text, is that right?
Yes.
And you were able to communicate with Jason with concierge of Estes Park, is that right?
Yes.
All right. And if we could please take this exhibit down. And you said you made a successful booking, and you paid for this booking, is that right?
Correct.
If we could please pull up what's been marked as hearing exhibit 111. This is the redacted version, I believe, Your Honor. There will be a confidential version, only as it pertains to credit card information. Investigator Hazlett, what are we looking at here?
Sorry, old eyes. That is I believe that's the credit card statement for showing that we booked the ride and then we had to pay for it.
So is this document familiar to you?
Yes, it is.
And how is it familiar?
It was obtained through my supervisor who's the actual user of the card he provided to me.
And is this kept in the ordinary course of business?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 111.
Hearing exhibit 111 is admitted.
So in your investigative role, do you have access to a credit card?
Yes, our supervisor is the one that holds it, so we don't just go crazy on Amazon, I guess. But we only use it for obviously stuff like this. It's a undercover card. But we can use it to book rides.
And how much was it going to cost to go one way from Estes Park to Fort Collins?
$75.
And is that amount reflected on this charge?
Yes, it is.
And who is the merchant name listed for this charge?
Concierge of Estes Park.
And
Estes, PA.
okay. And this is the receipt that you received for booking the ride with Estes Park Rideshare, is that right?
Well, actually, this is what the credit card statement showed, but this wasn't the receipt. This is what just proving that it did go through on our credit card.
You're right, thank you. Because we're going to go into that receipt right now. If we could please take this down. Oh, Your Honor, staff moves to admit the confidential version of hearing exhibit 111 as well.
Both versions of hearing exhibit 111 are admitted.
Thank you. If we could please pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit 112. Investigator Hazlett, what are we looking at here?
This is actually the refund that I received for after I canceled the ride.
Okay. Are you familiar with this document?
Yes, I am.
And how are you familiar with this document?
I printed it and saved it to the case file.
And is that record regularly kept in the ordinary course of business by the PUC?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, staff moves to admit hearing exhibit 112, both the confidential and public version.
Both versions of hearing exhibit 112 are admitted.
Thank you. So you said you would receive this because there was a refund?
Yeah, I called to cancel the ride within the cancellation policy, just so we weren't charged.
And do you know who you spoke with?
I spoke with Jason Martinez.
Okay. And what did you learn from that conversation? Were you were able to cancel?
Yeah, I had to call a couple of times because I first canceled it and he took the cancellation and then didn't refund me. So I had to call him again and just remind him, hey, can I get a refund, please? So again, all into my alias persona. I didn't tell him who I was.
Were you successful in obtaining that refund?
Yes, I did. I got the refund for $75.
If we could please take this exhibit down. Upon serving the CPAN to Mr. Martinez for Estes Park Rideshare, were you able to speak with him?
Before serving the CPAN?
Yes.
No, I did not speak with him before serving the CPAN.
Okay. Upon serving the CPAN, did you have any conversation with Mr. Martinez of Estes Park Rideshare?
I'm sorry, say that again. Sorry.
Just when you served the CPAN, did you have any conversations with Mr. Martinez of Estes Park Rideshare, Estes Park Rideshare by JM Concierge Services?
Yes, I did speak with him.
What did you learn from that?
Well, I learned that he first denied operating and he said he had closed his business prior to 2025. But then when I mentioned the ride that I took with him under my alias, he said, oh yeah, I remember that ride. Yes, I was happy it was canceled because he didn't want to drive to Fort Collins. And then we talked about previous complaints that were filed with the Public Utilities Commission that a coworker had investigated. So he had talked about, because I mentioned that investigator Jay Estrada had talked to him over the phone and warned him back in 2021 about having a permit to operate as a transportation carrier. And he recalled that and he said, yes, he remembered talking with Jay Estrada about having a permit. And he also told me that he applied and tried, but he couldn't afford the commercial insurance. So that's why he did not complete the obtain a application and obtain a permit. And then he mentioned that he has insurance, but it's just his personal. He said he thought it would be okay if he just got the most personal information or personal insurance, that it would be okay.
So,
yeah.
Go ahead.
So sorry, go ahead.
Please continue.
And then he gave the feeling that he didn't care about the CPAN. He wasn't going to pay it because he couldn't afford it. I told him to come to a hearing, take your side of it. And he didn't take that advice.
So as an investigator for the PUC, you are aware of other complaints made against this Estes Park Rideshare by Giant Concierge Services. Is that correct?
Correct.
And so you had just testified. Are you aware of other investigations that have taken place? Is that right?
Yeah, there was one back in, I believe, December 21 of 2021, where investigator Jay Estrada talked to him over the phone and gave him a verbal warning. And then I want to say it was a year later, in December, or maybe it was 2 years later, that he gave our investigator Jay Estrada issued him a violation warning letter, sent it certified mail to his residence. So
And that was in another case.
Those are two previous cases, yes.
Right. But you have knowledge of those, right? As a PUC investigator?
Correct.
And you discussed those with Mr. Martinez upon service of this CPAN, is that right?
Correct.
And Investigator Hazlett, do you have any additional testimony for the ALJ today?
I think that's it.
Do you have any recommendations for the ALJ today?
Well, the fact that he knew he was operating without a permit, I think he should be issued the full fine and be told and be issued an order to cease and desist.
Your Honor, staff has no further questions for this witness.
Thank you. I have a couple of quick ones, if I may. Ms. Hazlett, the CPAN states that it was served via personal service, and you also stated during your testimony that you went to 1691 Soaring Circle to serve the CPAN. Can you please tell me how exactly service was accomplished? It's not a trick question. I'm just trying not to put words in your mouth.
No, you're fine. So myself and another investigator went to the address at 1691 Soaring Circle, knocked on the door. A male came out. He identified himself as Jason Martinez. He talked about everything about the company. He talked very knowingly, so it was definitely him. He talked about, he knew that I sent a letter, CPAN, because he denied access. He didn't want to accept that service earlier. So, and then he talked about the transportation company. So he acknowledged, he said he identified himself, and then he signed the CPAN.
You handed it to him and he signed it.
Correct. And then I gave him a copy and I kept the signed copy.
Thank you. Another quick one. You testified that you booked a ride through what appeared to be the respondent's website on April 2nd. After April 2nd, did you visit the website again?
I believe so. I kind of stayed up on it to see if he was still operating.
Do you recall exactly or approximately when again you visited the website?
while typing up the report, while reviewing the case before issuing the CPAN. It's probably multiple times, to be honest. I don't remember the exact dates.
Okay. Do you know if the last time you visited was last month or before that?
I mean, just studying up today, I reviewed the website.
So like last week or
Oh, today, like a couple hours
today?
before.
You
Today.
visited the website before the hearing today.
Yeah, just to study up and just to review it.
Very good. So you actually went to you didn't review what I forget what hearing exhibit. I think it's somewhere maybe 10607, if I remember correctly. I may be wrong. But you actually visited the website. You didn't you put the URL in the address line, and that's how you got to the website. Is that correct?
Correct. I looked at my case file note for the website that I printed, and I went to the website
Got it.
just out of curiosity to see if it was still operating. So I put the URL in there.
And to the best of your recollection, was one still able to book a ride through the website?
I want to say from I didn't really look to see if I can book a website, just trying to see if it was still an active website, to be honest.
Okay.
But I did notice some of the verbiage was the same, that he does door-to-door service. I can't remember off the top of my head if it still has that book service. Sorry.
That's fair. That's all I have. Ms. Hayden, any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor, if I may, very quickly.
Of course, go ahead.
If we could please take a look at what's been marked as hearing exhibit 100. Investigator Hazlett, and if we could please blow this up, I'd like you to take a look and focus on the date of violation that you've alleged in the CPAN. On what date was the alleged violation take place?
April 2nd, 2025.
Thank you. And if we could please take this down and pull up what's been marked as staff's hearing exhibit 105. Investigator Hazlett, is that the same day that you made the booking? Oh, that's not the one I wanted. My apologies. If we could please pull up what's been marked as hearing exhibit 109. Investigator Hazlett, on the top of this page, what is the date listed on hearing exhibit 109?
April 2nd, 2025.
And is that the same date that you made the booking in this case?
That's correct.
Thank you. If we could please take this exhibit down. Your Honor, I have no further questions for this witness.
Thank you very much. Does the staff rest?
Yes, Your Honor, staff rests.
Thank you, Ms. Hazlett. We appreciate your testimony. You're excused. Would you like to make a closing statement, Ms. Hayden or Mr. Horman, or both of you?
Ooh, that's a dueling closing argument.
It's not, it's not necessary, but if you feel like you want to, I'm happy to give you the opportunity.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, yes, staff will make a closing argument. Very quickly, this is a case where the alleged violations against the respondent involve no proof of insurance, no permitting. In this case, investigator Hazlett testified that she was able to research the company, find out who the designated agent and owner is, and went to their direct website where they were even offering to operate as a common carrier without a CPCN. She booked a ride with this company and paid for it. That indicates that the alleged violations in the complaint have been met based on investigator Hazlett's investigation and testimony today. That was further evidenced by the credit card charge and then her conversations with the owner operator of the company upon service of the CPAN, interactions over testimony by text, giving testimony about texts related to being charged for and accepting a ride by Estes Park Rideshare. With that, Your Honor, we would ask the ALJ to find that the alleged violations in this case have been proven by a preponderance of the evidence.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the presentation today, Mr. Horman, Ms. Hayden. I will take this matter under advisement and issue a written recommended decision. Any questions before we adjourn?
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.